Hello everyone, welcome to AVLSI lecture number 42.3. Today we are going to discuss about the design equations for a two-stage OTA or op-amp. So let us start with the design equation and specifications of two-stage OTA or op-amp with a single-ended output. So this is the circuit of two-stage OTA with a NMOS input pair and a single-ended output, right? We have discussed this circuit. Only thing is that we were drawing the, this supply VSS was grounded, but now this also can be applied negative value, and VDD is a positive supply. So we have a positive and a negative supply. That's the only difference. And also the frequency compensated Miller capacitance C is there, and the load capacitor CL is the additions. So apart from this, we have already covered two-stage OTA. Now let's discuss about its design equations and specifications. So first of all, we'll assume that all the transistors from M1 to M8 are in saturation. So there are total 8 transistors. So we assume that all of them are in saturation. Then the design procedure will assume the following specifications. Specifications for the following parameters are given. Okay. So the design procedure will assume the specifications for the following parameters. Finds a gain at DC, which is the 0 dB gain, we can say, correct? Not the 0 dB gain, AV at zero frequency, basically, right? Then the gain bandwidth product denoted as GB. Then the input common mode range, ICMR, which is V in minimum and V in maximum. Then the load capacitor value, slew rate, SR, output voltage swing, that is V out minimum and V out maximum, power dissipation, and phase margin or settling time might be given, which is denoted as TS. Phase margin is denoted as PM. Now, let's understand what are the design equations for the two-stage OTA. So these are as follows. So first is the slew rate. Now we know what is the current flowing through a capacitor, C dV by dt, right? And dV by dt is my slew rate. So slew rate will be IC divided by C, right? In this case, we have a capacitor, right? The current flowing through ID phi divided by CC will give us your value of slew rate. Okay, so the first design equation is slew rate is equal to ID phi, which is the tail current source. Okay, tail current ID phi flowing through M5 transistor. Your slew rate will be ID phi divided by CC. Now, mind you, all these design equations are adopted from Alan Halberg. Okay, Alan Halberg book is there. So you all these design equations have been adopted from there. So let's continue further. So we have first stage gain given by, we know that the first stage is basically your OTA, single stage OTA. So it is given by minus of GM2 into RO2 parallel to RO4. So I know that your ID2 and ID4 is same, correct? So because they are connected in series, and ID2 will be ID phi divided by 2 because it's symmetric, right? Current flowing through M1 and M2 will be same, and that will be equal to ID phi divided by 2. So ID1 is equal to ID2. Therefore, RO2 is equal to 1 upon lambda 2 ID2, and RO4 is equal to 1 upon lambda 4 ID4, right? So what is RO2 parallel to RO4? It is 1 upon lambda 2 ID2 into 1 upon lambda 4 ID4 divided by 1 upon lambda 2 ID2 plus 1 upon lambda 4 ID4. So if you solve this, you will get RO2 parallel to RO4 is equal to 1 upon ID2 lambda 2 plus ID4 lambda 4. Now, since ID2 and ID4 are equal, then what can we say? We can say that ID2 and ID4 will be same, right? And that can be denoted as ID2 itself. So it will be RO2 parallel to RO4 will be 1 upon ID2 into lambda 2 plus lambda 4. But what will be ID2? ID2 value will be ID phi divided by 2. So we can substitute over here and we'll get RO2 parallel to RO4 as twice divided by ID phi into lambda 2 plus lambda 4. So that's the modified equation. Earlier it was minus GM2 into RO2 parallel to RO4, but now it becomes AV1 is the voltage gain of first stage will be twice, a minus of twice GM2 into 1 upon ID phi into lambda 2 plus lambda 4. Yeah. So let's move on. This is the gain of first stage. Similarly, the gain of second stage will be given by minus of GM6 into RO6 parallel to RO7, right? And now your ID6 and ID7 are basically same, because as you can see, M6 and M7 transistors are connected in series. So current flowing through, ID6 and ID7 will be same. So RO6 is 1 upon lambda 6 ID6. RO7 is 1 upon lambda 7 ID7. And RO6 parallel to RO7 will be, if you work it out, you will get it as 1 upon ID6 lambda 6 plus ID7 lambda 7. But we know that ID6 and ID7 currents are equal. So your RO6 parallel to RO7 will be 1 upon ID6 into lambda 6 plus lambda 7. So your gain of your second stage can be written as minus of GM6 into 1 upon ID6 into lambda 6 plus lambda 7. Okay, so this was about AV1 and AV2. We will use this formulas where we have the currents and the lambda value. Now, in the next step, we'll calculate the gain bandwidth product. Remember, CC is my Miller capacitance, Miller capacitor, compensation capacitor. Okay, Miller compensation capacitor is the meaning of CC, and its job is to stabilize the amplifier. That's it, right? So your gain bandwidth product should be equal to GM1 divided by CC. Okay, the gain bandwidth product will be equal to GM1 divided by CC. Now, what is the output pole? Output pole will be P is equal to minus of GM6 upon CL. Okay, so there is an output pole, and that is given by minus of GM6 divided by CL. What is your RHP0? So RHP0 will be added when you add your compensation capacitor, Miller compensation capacitor. So your RHP0 is Z is equal to GM6 divided by CC. Remember, these are all the design equations. So we are not going into detail how this has come. We are directly going to use this equation. Now next is my positive CMR. That is, V in max basically. So it's also called as maximum common mode ratio. Range. So what is V in max? Okay. So if you trace back this part, your V in max will be equal to VDD minus VSG3 minus VDG1. Okay, your V in max will be equal to, again I repeat, VDD minus VSG3 minus VDG1. So your VDD minus VSG3 will be nothing but VD minimum. VD1 minimum value, right? And your VDG1 is basically VDS minus VGS. And we know for the transistor M1 to be in saturation, its VDS value should be equal to VGS minus VTH. So your VDG1 will be VGS minus VTH minus VGS1. VGS1 minus VTH1 minus of VGS1. So your VGS1, VGS1 gets cancelled, and your VDG1 will be equal to minus of VTH1. That will make sure that M1 is at least at the edge of saturation. This is the worst case. So again, we'll go back to uppercase. Your okay. So basically, your VD1 minimum, V in max is VDD minus VSG3. So your VD1 will be the node voltage. We can mark it as a term, drain terminal 1 for M1 transistor, and that voltage is equal to VDD minus VSG3, correct? And we have to substitute the value of VDG1. So it is V in max is equal to VDD minus VSG3 minus of minus VTH1. So minus of minus will become plus. So your V in max will be, that is your positive CMR, or your maximum CMR will be equal to VDD minus VSG3 plus VTH1. Okay, so this is another design equation. I hope you're following. Now, let's move on to the next one. So next you have M1 and M3 are in series. Okay, your M1 transistor and M3 transistor are in series. So the current flowing through ID1, M1 and M2, M3 will be same. So ID1 will be same as ID3, and that will be equal to ID5 divided by 2. Okay, ID5 divided by 2, because the your single stage OTA is symmetric. Fine. So ID1 is equal to ID3, which is equal to ID5 divided by 2. Now, for the transistor M3 to be in saturation, what do we do? Your ID3 can be written as half mu p Cox W by L of 3 into VSG3 minus mod of VTH3 the whole square. So we substitute beta 3 as just a notation. We substitute let beta 3 is equal to mu p Cox W by L of 3. So your ID3 value is ID5 divided by 2. So ID5 divided by 2 is equal to half beta 3 into VSG3 minus mod of VTH3 the whole square. So basically your VSG3 minus mod of VTH3 is equal to square root of ID5 divided by beta 3, where beta 3 is mu p Cox into W by L of 3. So therefore your VSG3 will be equal to square root of ID5 divided by beta 3 plus mod of VTH3. Okay, so we got the value of VSG3, right? Now, so basically your V in max is VDD minus VSG3. So we have to calculate the VSG3 now. So we have VSG3 value, we got it from here, right? So this value we substitute in the Vmax equation. So V in max will be VDD minus, we substitute the value of VSG3, which we calculated, and its value is square root of ID5 divided by beta 5 plus mod of VTH3 plus VTH1. So your V in max value, which is your maximum CMR or your positive CMR, will be V in max equal to VDD minus square root of ID5 divided by beta 5, where beta 5 is mu p Cox into W by L of 5. I mean W by L of 3 basically, right? Yeah, W by L of 3 and minus VTH3 plus VTH1. So this is my equation for your maximum CMR or a positive CMR, V in max value. Now, similarly, we'll calculate V negative CMR, V in minimum. Okay. So your V in minimum will be if you consider this loop over here, right? Now, remember, VSS is my negative supply. So if you follow this part of this blue color trace, you will get V in minimum will be equal to VGS1 minus VDS5 plus, minus VSS, right? So V in minimum minus VGS1 minus VDS5 minus VSS is equal to 0. Correct? So your V in minimum will be equal to VGS1 plus VDS5 plus VSS value. Now we have to calculate VGS1, VDS5 also. So your ID1 basically will be equal to ID5 divided by 2 because it's a symmetric network, right? So, and also M1 is in saturation, that is ID1 is equal to half mu n Cox W by L of 1. Actually, we have used earlier beta 3. Yeah, this is beta 1. Yeah. So ID1 is equal to half mu n Cox W by L of 1 into VGS1 minus VTH1 the whole square. And remember, M1 is my NMOS transistor. So we let beta 1 is equal to mu n Cox W by L of 1. So ID1 is ID5 divided by 2 is equal to half beta 1 into VGS1 minus VTH1 the whole square. So if you want to write VGS1 minus VTH1, it will be equal to square root of ID5 divided by beta 1. So your VGS1 will be square root of ID5 divided by beta 1 plus VTH1. So from this minimum V in value, we got the value of VDS1. Next, we have to calculate VDS5. Okay, so VDS5 will consider as it is, it's the overdrive voltage, right? So your V in minimum will be VGS1, which is square root of ID5 divided by beta 1 plus VTH1 plus VDS5 plus VSS. So that's my minimum CMR, the negative CMR or my minimum input value V in minimum, which I can apply to the two-stage OTA, right? Next, we calculate the saturation voltage VDS5 sat. So your M5 transistor to be in saturation, the condition is that, the drain current, we can write it as ID5 is equal to half of ID5 is equal to half of mu n Cox W by L of 5 into VGS5 minus VTH5 the whole square. So we let beta 5 is equal to mu n Cox W by L of 5, correct? So ID5 will be equal to half into beta 5 into VGS5 minus VTH5 the whole square. So what will be your VDS5 sat? So VDS5 sat is nothing but VGS phi minus VTH phi. So VDS phi sat is equal to square root of twice ID phi divided by beta phi. Okay, and these are all the design equations related to your two-stage OTA, or we can or even call it as a op-amp, right? So yeah, so these were the design equations for the two-stage OTA. So let us revise from the start. So these were the specifications, and we started with the design equations for two-stage OTA. First, we evaluated slew rate, then the first stage gain AV1, then we calculated the formula expression for AV2 in terms of currents and lambda value, then gain bandwidth product, output pole, RHP 0, then we calculated positive CMR V in max value, right? We done some analysis and finally got the value of V in max. Then we calculated negative CMR, that is V in minimum value, and we got the expression of V in minimum value. And finally, we got the expression of design equation of VDS phi sat. Okay. So yeah, so I guess we will stop over now, right? We'll stop now. And this completes the design equation for a two-stage OTA. Next time, we will briefly see the design procedure for designing a two-stage OTA or op-amp. So until then, have a good day and thank you.